Hello, and welcome back to Let's Play Unrest. My name is Marlo, and we are continuing the storyline of this game. And to be perfectly honest, I actually kind of thought the game was going to be over after the end of the last episode, and I was a little surprised when it continued. I'm not unhappy. I'm really enjoying this game. I think it's great. But I kind of thought we were, starting to wrap things up, but it doesn't look that way. So let's take a look at our new character. Let's see. You are a priestess of Banca Mundi. You are and have been a spy for Jalesh. You are not alone. It's difficult to believe Asha's coup was only 1 week ago. Jalesh, one of the Naga who's made it through all this, along with Rhea, hasn't stopped moving in that time. Perhaps he's afraid of what will happen if he does. He's needed information. Gradually, the veil between him and his many paid informants has begun to fray, especially the good ones. The parcel's already changed hands, but he's got something else to say. Alright, let's look at our traits. Alright, our name is Shreya, and our trait is paid informant. Jalesh pays well for a pair of eyes in the right place. So, that's us. Alright, let's hit continue. And we don't even have time to look at the map or anything. We're going to jump straight into this conversation with Jalesh. Alright, Queen Asha never did approve my list. Looks like some of these people are going to be here for a while. And remember, Jalesh is one of the people who was trying to make a deal with Asha before the coup took place, when they were at the abandoned mansion where the rebellion, that the rebellion was using as its base. Let's check our quest journal. Nobody talks about Jalesh, but you suspect he is more deeply involved with events than he lets on. Since the coup, he has been busy. Let's take a look at our active quests. We don't have one yet. No completed quests. Only people is Jalesh. No locations and no history. So we know nothing. Alright, I could be sensible and say Asha really should have gotten some of these people off the street. I could be frank and say I can't say I'm surprised. Humans rarely do stick by Naga. I could be irreverent and say fine by me if you'll keep paying my wages. I think I'll be sensible and say Asha really should have gotten some of these people off the street. Your latest report is worrying. It was only a matter of time before Ranveer groomed a successor. Now, even if we wanted to assassinate him, it wouldn't help. Let's see. We could be sensible and say if you tried to kill him, there'd be even worse riots. We could be frank and say if it were me, I'd have murdered him a year ago. We could be bleak and say it doesn't really matter. Ranveer isn't the cause of this hatred. He's just the most visible sign. Trust me. I think we'll continue to be sensible and say that if we tried to kill him, worse riots would happen. It's probably true. A lot of the people in the slums really like Ranveer, and legitimately may owe him their survival. So let's say this right here. Shyam's men killed some of ours after they got to the slums and found out what we'd done. Once we found out J-Deep wasn't keeping peace anymore. I could be bleak and say it was always going to be a massacre, at least it was your massacre. I could be sensible and say the Naga should have controlled themselves. Or I could be conspiratorial and say J-Deep's still out there somewhere. We ought to track him down. Well, let's say we ought to track J-Deep down. Honestly, I've got to be honest with you. I do not remember what it was that Jalesh wanted from Asha that we didn't give him. I think it might have been a guarantee of people, some of his people in governmental positions or something like that. I think that might be what it was. But I could be mistaken. I think I'm going to go with number 2 and say the Naga should have controlled themselves. Things are tense wherever you go, mind. The riots did a lot to scare the nobility, even though as far as I'm aware, not one noble died as a result of them. This city is tensing for another big riot. I don't know if it will happen or not, but it's tensing. I suppose it all depends on how Bimra's fortunes fare. You're not really talking to me yet, are you? You're just outlining facts. I could be sensible. I could be frank and say, Alright, just tell me what you're getting at, or I could be patient and be silent. Let's be frank and say, tell me what you're getting at. It's coming time for the Naga in this city to make a decision. We've got one option we haven't exercised yet. Rhea was always threatening this city with invasion. With her, it was an empty threat. Nobody wanted to help the slum Naga, so why take the risk? But I have discovered some influential Naga in the slums, and the city is weak. I think we could make the case for an invasion after all. I could be bleak and say if the Empire declared war, every Naga in the city would be culled. Forget it. Pretty sure culled means liquidated or killed. You can be optimistic and say, so that would be it. After all we've bled and sacrificed to make this alliance work for your empire, you're going to invade. You can be frank and say, I don't disagree. Let's go with number 2. After all this, you're going to invade. I don't think anyone wanted an invasion. The appearance of a Naga army on the borders is going to be bad for any of our people inside the walls. It all comes down to whether we think things are going to get better on their own. I could be sensible and say they will. You just have to be patient. I could be optimistic and say there's hope for us yet. Give us more time. I could be bleak and say, honestly, if I were you, I think maybe I'd want an invasion to happen myself. I think we will continue to be sensible and say they will. You just have to be patient. Well, I suppose that wouldn't put us in a very different position than the humans, really. Everyone in Bimra, peasant and noble, human and Naga, are fighting to see another year. More than anything, I miss the days when anything at all was simple. You know what I think is going to happen? You want to know what I think is going to happen? Yes, we do. I think the city's going to have a horrible, horrible few months, and then I think an army is going to come, and pretty soon, nobody within these walls is going to be left alive. I think the army is going to kill this city before everything else does. When I went to Asha's camp, there was a feeling there, like she could do no wrong, like she would sweep in and retake the throne and all would be well again. I couldn't tell any of them otherwise, even if I'd wanted to. When you get lost in a happy story, all the other details and consequences are nothing, and anything becomes possible. And now, having seen what I've seen out there, I'm torn between craving that feeling and never wanting to come near it again. Oh! And that appears to be the end of the game, I guess. That was a little unanticipated. Oh, okay. Apparently we can pause the credits. We'll let the credits roll. Yeah, so the end of the last video really felt like it should have been the end of the story, so I guess I'm not terribly surprised, but this ending was a little abrupt. So, final thoughts, I would say this game is really cool. If you like adventure games, if you like RPGs, and by RPGs I don't just mean, Dungeons and Dragons style dice roll combat mechanics, but where you are actually playing a role, I think this game offers a lot of interesting opportunities. I would love to play through this game again sometime and make some very different choices to see, what different things might happen. But overall, I really like... Oh, and here I think you can see the people who contributed to Kickstarter on this game. I'm sad to say my name is not on this list. I didn't know about this game when it was in Kickstarter. Unfortunately, if I had, I might well have made a donation. But at any rate, yeah, I think this is a great game if you're into adventure games, if you're into role-playing games, if you are into, if you think it's interesting to make tough decisions and what people will do when everything's on the line. I think this is a great game. Obviously, it's not action-packed. That's not the point of a game like this. But, yeah, I've really enjoyed playing this game. I really hope that Pyrodactyl will make other games like this. A sequel? I don't know. But but other games in this same vein, I think would be really, really cool. So yeah, if you have a chance, if you've got the cash, I would really recommend picking this game up. It should play on just about anybody's computer. Believe me, the laptop that I use to record things on is pretty crappy, and this game works fabulously on it even while I'm recording. So yeah. Well, folks, I've really enjoyed making the recordings for this game, and I think, you know, it'll be time to move on to another game. I'm not sure what I'm going to do next. I welcome any suggestions. I have thought that perhaps I might do another game that I think has some similarities to this game in many respects, and that is, well, it's an oldie called King of Dragon Pass. It's, you know, other YouTubers have done this King of Dragon Pass before, but it's none the worse for having been recorded in the past. And I think that if you're a fan of this game, you might really like King of Dragon Pass. It's another game where really the meat of the game is making important decisions with the information that you have at the time. And there's some role-playing in it too. So, at any rate, folks, I hope that you've enjoyed this game, and I hope you're doing well and continue to do well, and I'll catch you in the next one.